Dinosaur nuggets are a popular frozen treat. They're loved by both kids and grown-ups who never grew up alike, myself included, whilst Brits like me would have grown up with the tea-time turkey dinosaurs instead. Both these products combine the same two great things of dinosaurs and nuggets, so it's no wonder they're a massive hit across countries. But are these dinner dinosaur finger foods made up of the same dinos that they're shaped in? Well, let's find out, as well as just how accurate these designs really are to the dinos they're shaped in. So, turkeys, along with chickens, both belong to the order of birds known as the galliforms, a group more commonly known as landfowl, with chickens originating from Southeast Asia and with turkeys originating from Central America. This also includes other birdfowls such as pheasants, peafowl, and quails. These landfowl birds split up from their waterfowl relatives, the antsiforms, examples being ducks and geese, both of which come from the superorder Gallinocereae, which I definitely haven't said right, or birdfowl. And we all should know that landfowl are birds, and though some still see birds as distant descendants of dinosaurs, they're in fact all part of the same family. That's thanks to evidence of plenty of transitional fossils or missing links, like Archaeopteryx, Sinopteryx, and Microraptor shown here. They've helped provide evidence for links that have helped what we have known for some time, that modern birds are in fact members of the dinosaurs. In particular, they're descendants from a group known as the theropods. Theropod meaning beastfoot. And as they shared a lot in common with other descendants in that clade, being placed closely to the famous family of Dromaeosauridae, more commonly known in movies as raptors. As shown from the evidence of fossilized feathers in Dromaeosauridae like Microraptor, a feature clearly found in birds today, and even a very similar bone structure within Dromaeosauridae and early birds like Archaeopteryx within their hands. A link proposed by John Ostrom, a paleontologist after his first discovery of Deinonychus in the 60s. This helped popularize the evidence of birds being part of the dinosaur family, which helped further spark the dinosaur renaissance, a movement to reshape dinosaurs not just as slow reptiles, but a lot of them were closer to moving like the active endothermic birds of today. And for those still doubting the links between dinosaurs and birds, my next piece of evidence I present is that it's all in the hips. Most animals have what is a closed acetibulum, which is a little depression where the hip socket goes. However, dinosaurs are pretty special for having an open whole hip socket, or a perforated acetibulum, in the two types of hips they shared, both Saurischin and Ornithischian. This helped them stand more upright and move the way we suspect them to. One of the key differences that separate dinosaurs and their older relatives, crocodiles, with crocs having a more sprawled lizard-like posture. With the only group of dinosaurs lacking the open acetibulum being the ankylosaurids, who later returned to being flat pancakes, evolving that to become the perfect tank defense against predators staying close to the ground. But guess who does still have a perforated acetibulum? That's right, the birds, giving them the same open hip socket today that we suspect the dinosaurs to have, giving an upright posture. Showing us the amount of fossilized evidence in the bones even shows us the truth about how close the dinosaurs were to the birds, and how they're really part of the same family, thanks to the hips, instead of older theories that they came about through crocodiles via reptiles. So, I could go into more detail about air sacs and such, but I'd recommend looking into this yourself later. The links between dinosaurs and birds are pretty much accepted now. But, you may ask yourselves again, does that mean that dinosaurs technically didn't go extinct 66 million years ago? Well, to help make all things clear, paleontologists often use the terms avian and non-avian dinosaurs to help distinguish between the groups of dinosaur families that went extinct and the last group of birds, the avian dinosaurs that have survived to this day. So, since we know landfowl are birds and birds are the last of the dinosaurs, therefore landfowl are avian dinosaurs, meaning Dinosaur nuggets are actually made of avian dinosaurs. But does that mean my T-Rex nugget is made of the poultry of a T-Rex? Not quite. After the non-avian dinosaurs went extinct in the Cretaceous mass extinction, a lot of people assumed birds just sort of spawned in. Not quite again. As we mentioned, the bird-fowl family, Gallinocerai, split up between land and waterfowl. But there is fossilized evidence they actually split up and began to diversify before the mass extinction, not after, which meant that different species of land and waterfowl had already evolved and were even living around some of the most popular species of dinosaurs like T.rex at the end of their reign. As again, the avian dinosaurs had a common ancestor with other groups in the theropod clade, being close relatives rather than descendants with dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurs and Dromaeosauridae. Being one of the few avian dinosaur families, let alone animal groups, to survive the great KT mass extinction of the asteroid, with smaller birdfowl likely relying on water and burrows to survive the initial impact and debris of the asteroid, as well as the cold, desolate aftermath, later diversifying even further into the birdfowl species we know today. So yes, these nuggets might be dinosaurs, but there's no T-Rex in them sadly, or any of the other non-avian dinosaurs their avian meat is shaped into. Only the avian dinosaurs we see today in landfowl. But how accurate are these designs? And first off, I should say, I know these nuggets are not meant to be scientifically detailed museum pieces designed to educate. Instead, they're small, obviously fun shapes for kids at dinner time. Turns out turkey dinosaurs and similarly America's dinosaur nuggets both appeared in supermarkets during the 90s. We'll be looking at the British designs today myself, as I grew up with them as a child through turkey dinosaurs. And first off, well, you can tell that they're based off designs even older than the 90s. They've all got a classic view of dinosaurs back in the early 20th century, as seen compared to the paleo art of Charles R. Knight below, who was influential of the public's view of dinosaurs then and to this day, with the information he had then, which is, albeit outdated today. So, starting with T-Rex, that look especially present in the T-Rex with that kangaroo stance compared to Charles R. Knight again, looks quite lanky, compared to its more balanced horizontal movement which we know it had today, standing more upright, and less of a kangaroo. I think the only reason it is really a T-Rex is just because it's the most popular one, to be fair, because really, any other theropod dinosaur could fit the idea of walking on a bipedal posture with a tail out and a carnivorous head, including modern avian dinosaurs. So again, its real issue is just it has too much of a kangaroo stance. Stegosaurus, however, you can correctly tell it's one thanks to the plates on top, but again, it could be any other stegosaurian like Wuhurosaurus or Hesperosaurus, as seen here. Again, it's looking like its classic retro look a lot of people have when they first think of Stegosaurus, where the legs are a little stubby and the tail could be raised higher above the larger back leg or femur, which Stegosaurus had. But I think the biggest issue is it's defo missing a neck, since we know Stegosauria had longer necks than previously portrayed back then. As a result, Stegosaurus here has got quite a low head compared to the rest of its body, giving this sort of hump-like look. But, to be honest, it'd probably make the perfect shuriken to throw at dinner time. Now, the most interesting animal here we have the challenge of Triceratops. Proportionally, it's pretty accurate, and probably the best. Its head is large compared to the rest of the body, which is accurate to the real animal, and there's definitely the iconic frill. However, the challenge here is I can't really tell where the horns are. After the frill we have the eye, I guess we go here just below it, and so I'm guessing that these would be the two brow horns above its eye, and the classic beak found in all ceratops is here, but where does that leave the nasal horn? And for those who know, Triceratops literally means three-horned face, so depending on what you see the horn and beak, it could really be any member of the ceratopsid family. But assuming this is Triceratops, the missing nasal horn still matters because Triceratops had two species, with the key difference being their horns, Triceratops horridus and Triceratops process. the difference being the shape their horns pointed above their brow, as well as Horridus having a much shorter nasal horn in contrast to the larger Process. So we can probably guess this species of a Horridus, with its much shorter nasal horn, and I guess larger brow horns in contrast. But ultimately it's up to interpretation, so let me know in the comments below, where do you think the horns are, which species of Triceratops this is, and even what kind of ceratopsid this really is. So, with all that said and done, all three turkey dinosaurs and dino nuggets as a whole, despite their postural limitations, are actually pretty okay. And after looking at the evidence for galliforms being living dinosaurs, the difference between avian and non-avian dinosaurs, and how accurate nuggets are, I'd still say they're a great introduction to kids to some of the most popular non-avian dinosaurs, as well as the links between avian dinosaurs that they're really made from today. And as someone who recently had the chance to visit and see lots of beautiful birds in motion, they truly are majestic, intelligent, and beautiful animals, which display better than anything on Earth the links to what dinosaurs really were, and what really are today, reminding us that their dynasty still continues on a smaller scale in our lives here. And whether it's eating traditional meals around the world that have lasted for centuries, or fast food next door, avian dinosaurs play a more important role than we probably realize in our everyday lives and history, through our ever-growing and diverse diets to keep us going. Or just something quite fun to munch on at 3 AM, to be honest.